Hi guys, Top Pops here, and today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of flippers. So let's get started. Now, before we actually get into the video, I do want to talk about what a flipper is for people who don't know. This is somebody who buys a figure for $15 or whatever the retail is, and then goes online and sells it for way more. And this doesn't just happen with Funko products, this happens with pretty much every collectible, and this is what makes the figures collectible, because they are worth something. You know what, guys, let's do an example of something that you could flip for a higher price. So I have this Kaale and Ellie 2-pack from Disney Pixar's Up, and I purchased this for $30. And that is $30 USD. You guys can see it on the bottom right there where the price is. They actually put their prices on the bottom, which is nice, so we can tell what I paid for it, and it was $30 retail. And now, if I come over to the Pop Price Guide and see how much this figure is worth, it says the Summer Conventions exclusive sticker, which is that one right there, is worth $220. So I could sell this thing for $190 more than what I paid for it. Now, of course, I'm not going to be selling this figure for that price just because I am trying to finish my upset and I am really close to finishing it. But if I were to put this up on eBay for that price, it would probably sell pretty quickly. Alright guys, now let's get into the pros and cons of flippers in the Funko community. And the first thing that we have here is figures rising in value. So say you bought something from Game of Thrones, your favorite television show, and you bought it for $15, but then a little bit later on down the line, they say this is going to be their last season, so now all of those original figures go up in price. And that is because they're not selling it anymore, and because people are really excited about the last season of the show, they're going to want to go back and buy some of those older figures that aren't available anymore, and therefore, they have to buy it for a higher price. And sure, Funko is making new figures for Game of Thrones, but they've stopped making these figures there, so people are going to sell them for more just because you can't purchase them anymore. And that actually kind of leads into my next point, where it makes something sought after. So because they're not selling them anymore, it makes them more expensive just because more people want them and they're not available anymore. And if nobody wanted this figure, actually it's weird to have nothing here. Let me grab a Game of Thrones pop to reference something. Alright guys, so I actually went and grabbed a pop for reference here. So this is the Kaale Drogo, and this is actually a great example because it's kind of a weird one. But then when the news broke that Game of Thrones was going to be making their last season, they re-released this exact figure, making this one worth about $12. Anyways guys, what I'm trying to get at here is once they made more of this figure, there was more on the market, making it cheaper. So I feel like if they didn't re-release this figure last year, this would probably be a $100 to $200 figure instead of $12 like it is now. Another pro that I have is if you're able to get a figure that you know is going to sell out very quickly, it feels a lot more rewarding than something just sitting up on a website for weeks and you're able to get it whenever you want. A great example of this is the Funko Shop drop yesterday. There was the Dumbo and Train as well as the purple Dumbo, and I was able to get both of those, and it's really cool that I could get them because they sold out in 4 minutes. And now I'm personally not going to go and sell them online, but I do know that they're worth way more than what I paid for them. Now, with there being a lot of pros, there's also a lot of cons, and the first one being figures getting super expensive. Now, you guys might be thinking, Tristan, didn't you just talk about this in the pros? Well, I did, but this is on the other end. So this isn't someone who was able to get this figure and then it rises in value. This is somebody who maybe missed a convention or the figure in general because they just started collecting, and now it's worth a lot of money. And this might discourage someone from trying to collect that entire line just because of how expensive the figure is. And a good example of this is the Otter Pops or the Sour Patch Kids. Now, what Funko did with this line is that they made it so all of the characters were common figures except for one. And that one figure was Louie Blue. They made it exclusive to SDCC, and there was only 1,000 pieces. And if you weren't able to go to SDCC but you wanted to finish your Otter Pop set, you would have to shell out about $400 to $500 just for that one figure. And this would probably discourage a lot of people from collecting the set just because they know they can't pick up this one figure for a reasonable price. And the Louie Blue just keeps rising in value, and I think this is because people buy the first 5, then they realize they need Louie Blue to complete the set, because I personally purchased one about a year ago and it was at $200, and now it's at about $500. And like I had briefly mentioned, this figure was limited to 1,000 pieces, and that is another topic that I want to talk about, which is limited piece counts. If a character comes out and it has a finite amount of pieces, that means it's already going to be more expensive than say if it didn't have that number. And a great example of this is the Banana Splits. They limited those figures to 4,000 pieces, and I feel like if it didn't have that number, it wouldn't have sold out. Now, don't get me wrong, I picked up the figures because I enjoy them, but I feel like if it didn't have that 4,000 number on it, they'd still be sitting on the Funko Shop waiting for people to purchase them, because now that entire set, instead of going for the normal $60 like you would purchase them for, it's going for over $250. Now, I will say it's not 100% a con if it has a limited piece count, but I will say if you do miss out on the figure and it's one of your favorites, you're gonna have to pay a lot for it. Now, the last con that I want to talk about is something that I find a little disgusting, but I know there is a market for it, and it's flipping Funko Pops as soon as the celebrity passes away. And this has happened with many different figures, one of the more recent ones actually being Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away just yesterday, and people are already selling her $10 figure for now $50 as soon as she passed. I also have a couple other examples here, being the Kobe Bryant as well as the Chadwick Boseman. Now, I know this is Black Panther, but he did play this character, and for a little while there, people were selling this figure for almost $1,000. This one here has since died down, but I will say it is kind of scummy that as soon as you find out some news about a person passing away, you try to sell this one online just to make a little bit of money. Even this one here, when we heard the tragic news about Kobe Bryant, I found that people were selling this one for $300 to $600. And you guys might remember last year that I actually did a 10 Fugitive Toys mystery box opening, and inside of those I got 2 of this Kobe Bryant right here, and I refuse to sell either of them just because I feel like it's kind of scummy to profit off of someone's passing. Let's just get started with the one that you would have probably seen if you watched Rye's video, because it's the 92 right here. So this is one that I actually picked up from there, and so we both did a thing where I opened one up on his channel, he opened one up on mine. So here's this right here. Anyways, let's get into this, guys. So this is the Kobe Bryant right here. Now this was number 92. If you guys went to the convention and you saw 92 there, that was this pop right here. All of these come in protectors, which is really nice as well. So there's this one right here, the Kobe Bryant. Let's see what we got. Okay. So we got, I think it goes this way. Yeah, we got another Kobe Bryant. Okay, so still pretty cool. I like this one, actually. This is a neat one. The Kobe Bryant one is actually one of my favorite basketball players. So cool that we could get another one of this one. I do like this one a lot, though. I like the older kind of basketball player ones because they look a little bit neater. They're kind of that superhero pose, as Sully said in the live stream the other day. But there it is right there, guys. Really, really nice figure. I think it looks cool anyway. Now, I know what people are going to be saying in the comment section below, that if someone's buying them, there is a market for them, which I totally understand. I just find it a little insensitive to be selling something as soon as the person passes away. And now, for me personally, I would never sell a figure just because someone passed away, because I had it in my collection before. I really enjoyed this figure, so why would I want to sell it after they passed away for a little bit more? Now, guys, that's pretty much all I've got for the pros and cons, but now I want to talk about how you can flip Funko Pops without seeming so scummy. Now, the first thing I would say is don't buy 10 or 20 of the same character. Buy 1 or 2, one to rock, one to stock. So that way, you guys aren't buying a lot of figures from some collectors that really want them. Another way that I think is the right way to flip figures is say you have one figure in your collection that you don't really want anymore, but it shot up in value. And a good example of this is, say, this figure right here, the metallic Wheeze from SDCC. Say you purchase this figure for $20, and then you go home and you have it for a couple months, it's in your collection, you really enjoy it, but then you come to find out it's worth about $100 to $150. Well, anyways, guys, that's all I've got for my pros and cons today. And if you guys have any pros and cons, let me know what they are in the comment section below, because I would love to hear them. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see more from me in the future, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that. But this has been another episode of Top Pops. Popsters, thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Dripping like a school. Gonna forward school. Baby gonna screw. She funny with it. Cool. V5 full thump. I'm a hump on a bounce. Jack and Jill up a hill. Baby tryna get a meal. Mary had a little lamb. I really do not fuck with, and she calling me the muffin man. I surely like the muffin top. Snow. Like my lashes.